I'm excited to introduce JoAnna. She's been helping companies create happy and loyal employees and customers for 33 years. And her first book, Winning at Customer Retention, 101 Ways to Keep Them Happy, Keep Them Loyal, and Keep Them Coming Back, was published by Lakewood Publications and sold 10,000 copies. Now, this was pre-internet. That's saying something, and it was close to 30 years ago. She's been a public speaker and consultant and has been inside hundreds of companies and spoken to thousands of employees, which is why she eventually started teaching leadership. So JoAnna's now a happiness coach taught by the founder of positive psychology, Dr. Martin Seligman, and certified by Florida International University as a chief happiness officer. I'm quite jealous of that title, by the way. Please welcome
Thank
JoAnna
you.
Brandi.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. And welcome to everybody that's here today. It's funny, I thought that Janine was interviewing me, and I just found out from Tasha, no, you're on your own. So, oh, great, that's fun. Then I could just talk all about it. So I am also the author of a book on called Building Customer Loyalty. And I'm the author of this little baby, which is my favorite, The 54 Ways to Stay Positive in a Changing, Challenging, and Sometimes Negative World. And I think that's the one that Janine wanted me to talk about. This is a fun little book. It's an illustrated book. And like everything else in my life, it has a story behind it. So I was up in New Jersey one day working for one of my clients, teaching customer care. And I talked about the fact that it was important, especially in that position, for you to be able to stay positive, even in a negative world. Even when things are coming on down around you, you had to have the capability of bringing yourself back up to that place to deal with that one customer, that one opportunity to get that customer to want to come back and do business with you again. So I mentioned this in the middle of a seminar, and a woman in the back of the room stood up very boldly. It was quite weird in the way that it happened. She stood up and she pointed her finger at me and she said, "What do you do to stay positive in a negative world?" Boom, on the spot. So I had a number of things that I could tell her on the spot, but I guess I recognized something there. And I was on retainer with this company at the time. And I participated every month in something called P&O. That was a company name, radio. Back then it was on cassette tapes. So I know Sean's going, what's a cassette tape? I would participate. Someone would call me on the phone once a month, and I would talk for about 15 minutes on whatever it is I was teaching. So I said, you know what? I'm going to find out more about that for you. And next month on the radio program, you're going to hear 13 ways to stay positive. Well, this began happening. I began really enjoying the observation of the things that made me happy and the observation of what made friends happy. After a while, I ran out of things, and so I started asking my friends. So this book is an interesting compilation of some of my teachers and some of my friends and what they do to stay happy. So I wrote this whole thing, and I ended up with, actually, I think I ended up with about 60 something. And I took it to a friend of mine who was a publisher. And I said, what do you think? He said, it needs pictures. I said, what? He said, it needs pictures. I'm like, okay, I get that. All right. So I wrote the manuscript up, had it edited. And every place I went, because I was still doing a lot of work in the direct marketing sector, so I was going to marketing workshops and things like that. Every place I went, I asked people if they were an illustrator. So gradually, I found someone who I thought was good. And I took the illustrations, I gave him the book, I took the illustrations to my daughter, who's a graphic artist and landscape architect and has quite an eye. And I said, what do you think? She said, they're not you, Ma. Keep looking. Well, I kept looking for another 2 years. I carried that with me. And one day I'm at a marketing seminar down here in South Florida, and I sit down next to a woman who's was quite famous in the advertising world as a branding expert and illustrator. Her name was JoAnna Goldsmith. She also spells her name with a capital A in the middle, like I do. And she grew up in the same neighborhood I raised my daughter in. So that was one of those things you just said, oh, I think I found the right person. And she took that manuscript home. She meditated every single one of the 54 ways, and then she drew them. There were very few changes. So it's pretty magical. So it was wonderful. Now this is a while back already, but this was the only book I've ever published myself. So I kept I kept printing it. And then I got to a certain point and I realized, the illustrations are getting kind of old because we have people in there holding cassette tapes and things like that. So hi, Nancy. And so I was sitting in meditation myself one day and I heard it's time to update your book. And so I went to her and we had the book updated. And I'm glad I did because she passed away during COVID. So it's so much joy when I bring this book out into the world, because I feel like this is one of her many legacies, one of her many printed legacies. And the pictures are gorgeous. And because it's illustrated, well, that was not an illustrated page, because it's illustrated so nicely, I always encourage people to take out pens and coloring devices and color and write. There's a couple of exercises. So this is a really, get into it book. Now, I know this is about the money-making angle, and the money-making angle for me with this book, besides the fact that, some people come in because I've got it on the bottom of my email, and I make sure every place I speak, it's in my credentials. But the money-making opportunity with this book is when I sell it to a company, because it's self-published, I have the ability to put your logo on the front. So I have the ability to have your message on the inside. So very often I will sell multiple copies. The largest order I've ever had was for 500 copies to a client who's it's a big company. They were doing a big event. They wanted their logo right on the front and their message inside the front cover. So it was a very special gift for people that came there. And that's how I sell the book. More than this, I love single copy sales, but it's very different. And I think a book, as you all know, is a good calling card. It's a great thing to have in your briefcase. It's a great gift to send after you have been to see a client. It's a wonderful thing to have. I actually want to do another one because this was written before I ever became a happiness coach. So I have way more to say about the topic. But I don't know if I want, I keep going, well, maybe I'll do an illustrated one. And then I think about getting another illustrator. So it's kind of an interesting conundrum. I do a lot of writing, so I don't feel I'm missing any opportunities, but it would be fun to do another book. So let me ask first if anybody has questions. Hi there, we got some new faces, Wendy and Nikki. And Nancy, you look like I know you. Isn't that funny? You've got a face that I said, oh, I know her. Do I know you?
I was thinking the same thing. No, I don't think so.
Wow. I love when that happens. I love when that happens. I love when that happens. That's such fun. It means there's a connection.
I have a question. I came in a little late, but
That's
I
okay.
kind of caught you saying that you sell your books in bulk to a company and
Yeah.
you put their logo on it. And I could you kind of back up a little bit on that? Is it, you said that I missed the part of the book, what it's about.
When you self-publish, you can't do this if you've published by somebody else.
I'm
But when you self-publish, you have the opportunity to go back in and put a new cover on the book when you print it. And in my case, I not only put a new cover, I encourage my client to put their values in there, to put their special message in there, if it's a holiday message or whatever, because here's a beautiful opportunity. Somebody's going to open that book and see your message right here. So it makes it a very special gift.
Okay. Now what? Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what are you going to, I do have a book?
I do. I have a couple books. I have a book series, and
Oh,
this
lovely.
seems like it's something that could work for me. It's called the Financial Cures book series, and I'd love to get a bank or a financial,
Oh, that's
institution
perfect.
to
I just got a
jump
chill.
on
Go
that.
do it. Yeah, I just got a chill on that one. That would be wonderful for a bank to give it as a gift. So they're paying for, and then here's the nice thing about it. When the numbers are high enough, I can charge less than the price that you're paying for on Amazon. I have it at Amazon at $19.95. Not that I wanted to do that. I had a book coach. He said, don't charge $14.95 for it. Charge $19.95. I still actually don't agree with him, but I go with it. But here's the great part. The cover price is $19.95. So when I say to my client, well, if you want to print 200 copies, I can offer it for you customized for less than the cover price of the book. So now you're offering for maybe $16.95. You're making money. They're very pleased. The perceived value is really high, and everybody's happy.
I like that. I'm going to use that. Okay, because
Good, and I'm going to hold you to that, Wendy.
Yeah, that's really good. Because, like I said, I've got 2 books right now. The third book is going to be about protecting your financial health, and I could tap into some insurance companies for that one because it's going to be about insurance. So I'm excited. That's good. I love that.
Yeah, because there's lots of people out there wanting to do that kind of a thing, you know, wanting to. One of my clients is a bank. It's a very small bank. They are a credit union, and they are all about wanting their people to reach their goals. And they have a book, permission from the author and all of that, about it's called the Dream Book or something. I think it's called the Dream Book. And they give that to their customers because they want the customers. Now, of course, the author is getting author. Well, yeah, and you know, they're sending a PDF copy. But I actually am their dream manager. So I work with their people to reach, it's an experimental program right now, to reach their goals. I made them promise one thing, though, is I'm not responsible for anybody's financial goals. I said, you do that part on the inside. I'll take care of all the other dreams, but don't ask me to help them with money.
Now, who is your contact at the bank? Who would be the contact for that?
Well, he's thing? I told you, small bank, president of the bank. Small bank, very small bank. Yeah,
I've got a few of those.
He's got a very, you know, it's, I will tell you this about banks. I've worked in that sector a lot. Credit unions have more flexibility than banks. Banks are very rigid. I've worked with some of the biggest ones, and they can be very rigid. And the small ones, throughout my career, I must have worked with, I don't know, 40 different banks or so in the Midwest, but they all got gobbled up by the big banks. So see if you can find yourself the smaller banks or the credit unions, and go to them first, just so that you can, you know, for practice, and see what happens.
Okay, because we have community banks in my area, credit unions. I'm a member of the chamber, so I got a few little connections. And
where are you located?
I'm in Fayetteville, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. So we've got, matter of fact, about 4 community banks. We've got some regional banks. You know, of course, we got the big boys, but we got several credit unions. But that's a good idea. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Nikki.
Yes, thank you, JoAnna. So I heard you say a PDF version of the book. Do you mean the ebook version versus the softcover, or is that different?
I think it's different. Technical, I don't do any of the technical stuff. I work with my friend Dave, who he's an author, and he sort of does, he doesn't want clients to make books, but he helps me because he runs a company called Story Sailing, and he's very skilled at doing this. In other words, he can kind of do it in his sleep. So he helps me. He said, this is what you need. Or this is who you need to hire. So I'm afraid I can't tell you too much about that, but I do believe the ebook version and the PDF are different.
Okay.
I think this is fun. Tell me about your book, Nikki.
Sure. I have a few, but the one that I recently published is The Calm Method, and I did it through Amazon KDP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I have got the ebook version and the soft cover, and I had thought about maybe sending, if there was a company that I was interested in seeing if they wanted to have me come in and teach my Calm course that is a companion to the book. It would be nice to send them a sample without sending the actual book. So when I heard PDF version, that's what I was thinking.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. My book doesn't work well as a PDF version because of the illustrations, because the illustrations go from page to page. If it's a regular book, you can do
Yeah.
just fine with the PDF version. Yeah.
Okay, great.
You put a nice cover on it.
Okay, yeah. Put the cover.
And tell me what you do. What is the are you a psychologist? Are you what do you do?
I'm an NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, life coach. I work with the inner workings of the subconscious mind, and CALM is an acronym to how to go from the chaos in your mind to clarity and confidence. So you keep taking action toward your goals.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. NLP trained 30 years. It was the first thing I do when I started my business. Yeah, I studied NLP. And I have no idea now why. I could tell you, I was like, what made me want to study NLP at that point in my life? But I must have learned about it somewhere. And I was living in New York and I had to go to Philadelphia to learn it. It wasn't common, wasn't around much. It's a beautiful technology.
It's great for everybody to learn how to communicate with yourself and others.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a great one. Wonderful. Make sure everybody puts their information in the chat so I can, connect with you on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, we can stay connected. Other questions? And hello,
Yes,
Daisy.
am I in room 2?
I'm sorry?
Am I in room 2? I wanted to
Brian,
watch
is this room
Nancy's
2?
video.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
you are.
You're in room 2.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
you guys, thank you so much.
Were you lost, Daisy? Were you in the
I
wrong?
was.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
This Zoom thing is terrible. Well, I'm 83, so what can I say?
Okay, but you found what you were looking for, I
Well, they
see.
say that I'm in room 2, so
Okay.
I want to watch Nancy. I've been a client of hers for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And if there's anything new going on, she's come up with it. Like this Google thing for knowing what words to use is
Oh, well,
much better, I guess, than SEO. I don't know yet. I'm going to try it and see.
oh, sorry, Dee. I'm going to be on at the top of the hour, and I'm going to be in room 3. So I'll see you
Oh, you're
there.
in 3. Okay, then you got to tell them they got to move me to 3 because I don't have a clue what's going on.
Okay, I'll see you. I'll see you at the top of the hour, room 3. Or
Okay.
yeah,
So
yes.
you told me to, so
Sorry.
we're all having one of those.
Sorry,
days.
JoAnna.
That's
Don't worry.
perfect.
I'll talk with Miss Tosh and we'll get you moved, Miss Lizenkoff.
Okay,
Give me
so
one
now
moment.
you're going to move me to 3, please?
That's correct.
Thank you.
So does anybody else have a question? Elaine, might you have a question? Or Nancy, now you're the next speaker.
In room 3.
All right, JoAnna, I had an emergency in our neighborhood. I had to leave for a minute and I lost him.
I hope it all got solved.
So far, yeah.
Okay, good. Good.
If I can ask a follow-up question, something else I heard you say, JoAnna.
Of course.
The customize your cover, were you referring to customizing the ebook cover versus the soft cover?
No, I was talking about the soft cover.
Okay, so you could customize it without having to republish it with a new ISBN number? Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, at least I think so.
And when you say customize, because you mentioned sending a message to the person, I think I missed what you meant by that specifically.
And I'm looking at the back to see if I can tell whether or not I just send a message over to the guy I work with.
Okay.
He helps me. I'm the kind of person that needs coaches. When it comes to technical stuff, I have very little interest in wanting to learn how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very old school like that. I just prefer that someone that has skill in that area I have done so many of these tests, the Colby test, all these personality tests that people have, and I've done all of that, and they all come out and say the same thing. You're really good at starting stuff.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it's good to know that I could do that to
Yeah.
customize the cover. I wrote it down, so when I'm ready, I
Yeah.
could look into
Do you have a
it.
copy? Could you want to hold up your book? Do you have a copy of your book?
I do. Thank you. So this is the CALM method. It's the
Oh,
inner
it's
game.
beautiful.
Thank you. It's the inner game to getting the results you want. It's an easy read, and it's on Amazon.
Very nice. That's funny. We use the same term. I now teach the inner game of customer care.
Oh, I love it.
Because if the customer care provider doesn't have that game going, it makes for a very difficult experience for themselves and for the client. So I've incorporated a lot of my happiness coaching into the customer care workshops. So it's changed quite a bit through the years, because if you don't feel happy at your job or at your work, and you don't have that, the ability to make it happen, and there's many ways, as you know, to make it happen, to get yourself out of a funk, to feel on purpose, and really be able to help the client, and be able to bounce back. I mean, I had a couple of weeks ago, I had a bunch of stuff I had to do, and it forced me to have to call customer service departments. Oh my God. Oh my God. I feel so sorry for the people that do have the jobs, because there's not enough people. So when you finally get a human being, it took a lot, really, to just say, be kind to this person. They've been yelled at 5 times in the last hour. Make sure you're a good person.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's not funny anymore. It's not funny. There's just not enough people out there to take care of these customers. And
Yeah, and it's refreshing when you do get really
oh,
great
it's
service.
wonderful. It's wonderful. And I praise them like crazy. And I go out of my way to fill out the form to say what a good job they did. Yeah. I was traveling a couple of weeks ago, and after I got home, it was like I have all these people from the airport, the car rental company. I got to write this one. I got to write to this one. I got to write to this one, just to let them know they did a good job, or let their boss know they did a good job.
Yeah, I'm sure it's much appreciated.
I'm sure it is too. I'm sure it is too. And Nancy, tell me a little bit about you, and what are you going to speak on? What's your book about?
Well, I was a contributor to a book, and that released in 2020. I am now looking at writing one of these wonderful short little books that Janine talks about. I think it just sounds like a fabulous way to get out there with authority. I do a number of things. I'm a graphic designer, have had a business for 30 years. And so I brought in my print design experience and into web design. And
nice.
now I've discovered finally how SEO works after many years of trial and error. So it's exciting that, getting people found online.
That's huge. Get me found, please. I need to be found enough.
We all need to get found.
I get up in the morning and I go, yes, find me. Well, Oprah just wrote a book with Albert Brooks on happiness. And so I think that's going to help, because it's back out there, and it's back out there in a big way. So that's helpful. And I'm in the process now. My classes start in October, of being certified as a chief wellness officer, because that's now becoming the language of organizations. And that should be interesting. I'm in the inaugural program, as the same as when I became a chief happiness officer. So I'm excited about that. There's a lot going out there in the work world right now, but most of it what's mostly going on is burnout. People are fried. And Nikki, Calm, do you know the app Calm?
I do. Yes.
Yeah, they are making great inroads to the business world.
Yeah, I thought it would, and that's the thing. It's like I do mostly, not mostly, all private coaching, group coaching programs. I haven't made my way in the corporate space, so I'm at the place of making connections and, you know, it's like you need to know somebody, right? Everywhere you go. But Calm would be great to get into
Wow.
because you
Yeah.
said burnout, there's a lack of happiness, there's dissatisfaction. It's just a way of changing my languaging because I'm so used to being, you know, in the social media space and it's different lingo.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm trying to learn the lingo of the social media space. Lots has changed from the years when I just spoke on stages at conferences. So I'm trying to learn that language. Elaine, did you have a question at all or some comment? No, you're just enjoying it. You're just here for the fun.
Yep, that's about it. I'm in two different worlds, the neighborhood thing and this thing
Oh,
right now.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm still being
Yeah.
diverted a little bit.
Oh.
There's an elderly woman across the street who fell and it's a big deal here.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that. I have a neighbor and friend who's 97 and you just never know.
Yeah. But I wanted to find out other people's, I do have a question.
Okay.
What is other people, what are your experiences with Canva? Because one of the things, you know, I was in tech and I had a hard time figuring out SEO as well. And so is my publisher and agent. So they have it very clear. I do not, my website administrator does, but I need to figure out how when I get a large file from a radio program or an interview that I've had, how do I edit it so that it's just a few, you know, just me on that interview that I can post.
Sean might be able to help you with that. Nikki, I see you use Canva too.
I do use Canva. I love it. And today I just upgraded to Pro. I had an issue and on the free version and their customer support through email was, they kept checking in with me and they were so friendly and nice. And so I upgraded to Pro because there's so many more features when you have the Pro version.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering how long is it going to take me to learn yet another piece of technology, right?
Yeah, it's very user friendly. It's very easy to learn, and there's lots of simple tutorials. I could put somebody I know who does a lot of Canva tutorials. I could put her YouTube channel in the chat if that's helpful. She makes short, fun videos. That
would be great. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'll appreciate that too. We've started. I have a VA, and she's now moving a lot of stuff to Canva. She's a graphic artist. But now she's having fun with Canva. So she's starting to move my stuff over to Canva so that actually I can start recording there. She said they have a new recording feature and it'll give me the vertical videos because normally I do all my recording right here. But it doesn't look as good on Instagram as when you do a vertical video. So Canva can do that apparently.
Canva can do that. And with the Pro version, it could take your whatever you made and then you could resize it.
My name is Maggie Carey. I'm
so sorry.
Just a heads up, our room is going to close in 1 minute. So JoAnna, if there are any closing comments you want to make?
Well, I just, I've got lots of them. If you join me at returnonhappiness.com, you get on my email list. I'll communicate with you every 2 weeks. I am on all social media channels, so it should be easy enough to find me. I'm looking to get found. So, you know, that's why I do these kinds of things. I'm currently working on a book about gratitude. And there's a nice little handout at my website, returnonhappiness.com/happyplace. And that is for people who want to find out how to make your workplace a happier place. So if you are not in the workplace, but you know people that are, spread the word.